Hey kiddos, it is Mr. Ken again, and we're going to talk about English language arts, punctuation marks. This is the first video because there's lots of punctuation marks, but let's try to understand what they are. So I wrote something here and I want you to read it with me. Punctuation marks are the extra dots, points, curved lines, dashes, and slashes that properly guide the reader to read the text properly in the manner in which the writer intends it to be conveyed verbally. There are rules that govern the use of the punctuation. Here are a few. How about that? So, you just heard me read something very long, and if you've ever read anything in your life, you know that there are punctuation marks that exist, and I want you to look at this and see if there's anything missing. You're probably saying to yourself, there is something missing. I don't see any weird marks. So punctuation marks are very important. They are definitely a part of language arts that you need to learn. So we're going to go over some of the most important ones right now in this first video. But let's maybe correct this. Let me get my marker right here. Alright. Since I'm talking about the way a writer or someone who talks, how they speak, we should punctuate accordingly. Punctuation marks are the extra dots, points, curved lines, dashes, and slashes that properly guide the reader to read the text properly in the manner in which the writer intends it to be conveyed verbally. Period. There are rules that govern the use of the punctuation. Period. Here are a few. And there we just used a couple of periods to stop the reader at the end of a thought, and we used commas in here to separate a list of items. So let's see what some of the most important punctuation marks are. And I labeled this group as the most important ones. These are the end marks. These are the marks that you find at the end of a sentence after you have completed a thought. And there's three that I'd like to discuss right now. The period. The period is used at the end of a sentence when a thought is completed, like I just said. Here's an example. I like to swim. She likes to run. As you can hear, there's a natural pause between the ideas. So where would you think I would put a period? Alright. I like to swim. She likes to run. Absolutely. That's how we would break up that long phrase into two sentences. Alright, the next one is the question mark. The question mark is used at the end of a sentence when a question is being asked. Now this seems easy, but let's see an example. I thought to myself, who is that? If you're asking a question, you have to use a question mark. Who is asking a question? It's one of our question words, and that's usually the tip-off that we have a question statement, or in more official terms, an interrogative statement. So here we go. We have a question mark at the end of that. Who is that? Alright, and the last one. Exclamation. Exclamation is made with a line and a dot right there. And it is used at the end of a sentence when expressing emotion, sadness, anger, excitement, surprise, etc. Etc. just means there's probably other situations where you would use an exclamation point. Here's an example right here. Be quiet! She screamed. Now, where would you put an exclamation point here to convey that she screamed? If we put just a period there, it just sounds like she's saying, be quiet. But if she screamed it, we want to indicate that it's an expression and that she's being loud or she's showing anger. So we use an exclamation point. These are the end marks that I want you to learn. The period, the question mark, and the exclamation point. Study those and we'll have more practice in class. See ya.